Babes, welcome back. We are so glad to have you here. And babes, we just need you to know right at the top that you are absolutely fucking amazing.
You really are. And honestly, we need that positive energy today because um, I was just thinking about this. Somewhere right now, a friendship is literally ending over a group chat.
Oh my God, yes. Like someone is typing out a massive paragraph, deleting the whole thing, and just sending a thumbs up emoji.
Exactly. And someone else is, standing in their shower just obsessively replaying an argument in their head that happened like 3 years ago.
Right. And they're fully preparing a reunion speech that absolutely nobody asked for. It is the human condition.
It really is.
Mhm.
But listen, Snark Squad babes, we have to talk about our weekend because we just had the absolute best weekend in New York.
I'm still recovering, like
Right.
physically and emotionally, because the mango margaritas were on deck. And
I-
babes, let me tell you, they were hitting exactly how they needed to hit.
They were lethal in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And we need to spiral about this for a second because why do vacation drinks always taste so much better than regular drinks?
I mean, it has to be the psychological freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like you are away from your emails, the glass is sweating, the salt rim is perfect, and you just feel like a completely different person.
It's the delusions of grandeur, which, by the way, New York is the absolute capital of. Like, the second you step foot in Manhattan, the city just somehow convinces you that you are the main character of a Nancy Meyers movie.
Yes, you are walking down the street, bumping into people, sweating through your shirt, but in your head, you're like, I am an icon. I am surviving the concrete jungle.
It is entirely a mindset. But wait, we have to officially debate this.
Yeah.
Are mango margaritas entering the summer drink rankings?
Yeah.
Because I think they might be taking the #1 spot.
Oh, I'm calling it right now. They are officially top tier. Because, a regular margarita is fine, but the mango just adds this, like, tropical arrogance to it.
Tropical arrogance. I am stealing that phrase. But the whole trip was just highs and chaos. Remember when we got completely turned around in the village trying to find that one specific bakery?
And we ended up in a vintage store for 2 hours instead. Honestly, that is the magic of the city. You get lost, and you just buy a jacket you don't need.
Exactly. And babes, we had to call our absolute OG snark queens at the retirement home, Joan and Felicia, to tell them all about this trip.
We literally had to. They demand updates. And of course, the second we mentioned New York, the conversation immediately turned into a full-blown spiral about their own vintage New York memories.
Which are infinitely cooler than ours, by the way. Like, Joan was telling us about the very first time she visited the city in the 1970s.
I was obsessed with this story. She said she saved up her money for, months, right? And she took this clunky train into the city all by herself.
And she immediately got completely lost trying to find Times Square, which, in the 1970s, getting lost in New York was a genuine survival situation.
Literally. But instead of panicking, she somehow ends up at this random diner, sits at the counter, and just starts talking to people.
And she ended up spending half the day exploring Manhattan with these total strangers she just met over black coffee. Like, she still swears it was one of the absolute best days of her entire life.
I mean, can you imagine doing that now? Just roaming the city with strangers with 0 cell phones. It's so iconic.
It is. But then Felicia chimed in, and her story was just peak 1980s glamour delusion, which I deeply respect.
Oh my God, Felicia's story killed me. So she goes in the 80s, right? And she remembers seeing the Broadway lights for the very first time and being completely mesmerized.
And she buys a hot dog from a street vendor, which is the most tourist thing you can do. But she was absolutely convinced, like down to her bones, that she was going to run into a movie star.
Yes. She said she spent the entire weekend just walking around, eating this hot dog, pretending she was 5 seconds away from bumping into Richard Gere or something.
She never saw a single celebrity. Not one. But she spent 3 days maintaining the posture of someone who might be photographed at any second.
I mean, the dedication to the aesthetic. That is why they are our OG snark queens. They understand the assignment of delusion.
They really do. But wait, we have to tell the Snark Squad the best part of that phone call. Because babes, both Joan and Felicia in unison, asked if they could come to Pride with us next weekend.
I physically shrieked when they asked. I was like, wait, are you serious? Joan and Felicia rolling up to Pride?
We were spiraling, just trying to figure out if we could actually survive a Pride weekend with them. Because let's be analytically honest here. They would become instant fan favorites.
Oh, without a doubt. People will be buying them drinks, taking selfies with them. They would completely steal our spotlight.
They really would. And we were trying to picture what chaotic outfits they would wear. I feel like Felicia would show up in a full sequin tracksuit.
Yes, a sequin tracksuit with, sensible orthopedic sneakers, but covered in rhinestones. And Joan would definitely have some sort of deeply shady graphic tee.
100%. But the secret fear, the thing we didn't say out loud to them, is that I genuinely think these retirement home queens would absolutely out-party both of us.
Oh, it's not even a question. We would be tired by 4 p.m., looking for an iced coffee, and Joan would be rallying the crowd for a drag show at midnight.
They have that boomer stamina. You cannot compete with it. But talking about Pride with them really got me nostalgic. Do you remember that one Pride? I think it was like 4 years ago.
Wait, which one? The one where it rained?
Yes. The torrential downpour Pride. It is still my favorite memory. Like, we were all out in the street, the parade had just finished, and the sky literally just opened up.
Oh my God, I remember everyone was completely drenched in like 10 seconds.
But nobody left. That was the magic of it. Instead of running for cover, the DJ just cranked the music louder, and thousands of people were just dancing in this warm summer rain.
I have chills just thinking about it. The glitter was washing down the street, people's outfits were completely ruined, but the energy was just so pure and electric.
Exactly. It's that feeling of absolute community. Like, for those few hours, nothing else matters except joy and survival and just being exactly who you are, loudly. That's always my favorite celebration every year.
It really is the best. And babes, speaking of iconic women, chaotic friendships, and absolutely refusing to keep our opinions to ourselves, let's get into Atlanta.
Yes, we have to dive into this.
Yeah.
Because I watched this deep dive last night, and I'm still vibrating with anxiety.
I'm literally shaking just thinking about it. We are talking about Season 17, Episode 12, The Glow-Up Cost.
Yeah.
And we have so much to unpack.
The sheer volume of mess in this single hour of television belongs in a museum. We need to start right at the beginning with Cynthia's little visit to Angela's house.
Oh, I was screaming at my television during this scene because Cynthia comes over and it's framed as this very casual, like, oh, I'm just checking in on my friend vibe.
Right, the classic reality TV Trojan horse. You bring a fruit basket, but hidden inside the fruit basket is a tactical nuke.
Exactly. She sits down there having food, and Cynthia just immediately starts carrying bones. But she does it with this soft, fake concerned voice.
The smiling assassin maneuver.
Yeah.
It is surgically precise.
She relays Shamea's absolute most personal, sensitive business to Angela. She tells Angela about Shamea's surrogacy struggles and her mother's severe health issues.
And she is handing this deeply vulnerable information directly to Angela, a woman who is actively engaged in a bitter feud with Shamea.
Which is why I am so outraged. Because, you know, carrying a rumor about a text message is one thing, but weaponizing a woman's sick mother and her surrogacy journey, that is so dark.
It is ethically bankrupt, I agree, but strategically. Cynthia is having her best season in years because she has completely mastered the art of producing the show without dirtying her own hands.
I guess, but it felt so cruel. Like, Cynthia knows exactly how Angela's going to react. She knows Angela has no empathy for Shamea.
And Angela proved her right immediately. Instead of saying, oh, wow, I didn't know she was going through that, Angela literally calls Shamea a bee, we all know what the actual word is, and says she needs therapy.
The absolute lack of self-awareness for Angela to tell anyone else they need therapy, I had to pause the TV and take a breath.
Right. But then Cynthia executes the perfect pivot. Once the anger is at a boiling point, Cynthia channels it into an event. She pitches the Bailey Bowl basketball game to honor Angela's late mom, Maggie.
And Angela just eats it up. She immediately dubs it Maggie Madness and decides her husband Charles is going to be the referee.
It is brilliant economics on Cynthia's part. In 3 minutes, she stirred the pot, secured a cast event, centered herself as the co-host, and didn't even have to put down a deposit for the venue.
She is securing the bag. But listen, if we are going to talk about securing the bag, we have to talk about Portia. Because Portia's palace was a revelation.
Portia is operating on a level of financial ruthlessness that I deeply respect. We see her at her old house, meeting with her mom, Mrs. Diane.
Yes, and Mrs. Diane is currently living there, but they are casually getting ready to sell it. Portia's just pulling equity out of houses like she's at an ATM.
It's the business pivot of the century. She snatched Simon's massive mansion in the divorce fallout, and now she is just quietly liquidating her old assets to stack cash.
But the funniest part of this whole scene was the Dennis drama, because Dennis gave the engagement ring back again.
And Portia sits there with a straight face and tells her mother that she can't choose Dennis right now because she is, quote, choosing her baby.
I died. And the camera just slowly cuts to Mrs. Diane and babes. the silent judgment radiating off that woman's face.
Mrs. Diane can communicate a 5-page essay of disapproval without blinking. Her silent repose is basically saying, we both know you are lying for the cameras, but go ahead.
It was hilarious, but Portia doesn't even care. She just immediately pivots to meeting with Drew to talk about her go naked wig line.
Which is where she reveals the single most brilliant piece of marketing I have ever heard in my life, the Simon bump.
I was taking actual notes during this. She tells Drew that whenever Simon gets mad and posts some unhinged rant about her online, like saying she's banned from Nigeria, she doesn't get upset.
She doesn't call a lawyer. She doesn't issue a statement. She just checks her Shopify account.
She happily admits that on the days Simon attacks her online, she makes $50,000 in wig sales in a single day.
She is weaponizing his hatred and turning it into retail engagement. It is a masterclass. But wait, before we praise Portia too much, we have to discuss the crime that occurred at that lunch table.
Oh my God, the chicken wing crime. I was physically unwell watching this.
Portia literally has to stop a high-level business meeting to give Drew a tutorial on how to eat a fried chicken wing.
Because Drew is taking these like tiny, delicate little bird bites and leaving massive chunks of visible meat on the bone. I was screaming.
You do not disrespect fried poultry on television. It is illegal in the state of Georgia.
Like, what is the psychology there? Are you trying to look dainty? You are eating a wing, Drew. Clean the bone.
It's the performance of elegance. But it just looks ridiculous. Honestly, we should pull Drew's card for that alone. But speaking of ridiculous financial performances, we have to transition to Kelly.
Oh, Kelly. Babes, we are going from securing the bag to actively setting the bag on fire in a dumpster.
This segment was titled, Suffer for a Little While, Boo, in my notes, because her meeting with Johnny the accountant was a horror film.
It was the most stressful thing I have watched all year. Johnny sits her down, and he brings the actual profit and loss statements.
And let's break down this disastrous math for the Snark squad. Because she has 2 restaurant locations, the McDonough spot brings in about $75K a month.
Which sounds fine.
Right, sounds like a lot of money to a normal person.
But the Sandy Springs location is only making $15K a month. And in the restaurant industry, where margins are tiny, a $15K gross revenue means that location is actively bleeding out. It can't even cover its own rent.
But it's not just the business failing. It's the personal expenses that made me want to throw my remote. Johnny starts reading off her monthly spending. It is staggering. $2,000 for a car note on a Range Rover. $600 just for insurance.
$2,500 on glam. $3,000 on hair. Over $8,500 on shopping every single month.
And Danielle, I have to be analytical and shady here. Because if she is spending $8,500 a month on clothes, where are they?
Exactly. She looks like she's wearing rainbow with a luxury label slapped on it. It's fast fashion chaos.
She does not look like $8,000 a month. But we are bearing the lead here. We have to talk about the ultimate offense on that spreadsheet.
I don't even want to say it out loud. It makes me too angry.
$500 a month on dog wigs.
Yeah.
And dog hair dye.
I am literally crying. $500. Her restaurant is failing and she is buying weave for a canine. Make it make sense.
You can't. It is pure financial freefall. And what makes it so much worse is how she acts in her confessional interview. She just sits there, smiling, playing this cute and clueless routine.
She literally says, oh, I don't know how to pay bills. My ex-husband did it all. Like, it's a flex.
Right. She thinks the kept woman aesthetic is still cute when you are literally facing bankruptcy. She doesn't know how to pay a bill because she refuses to learn.
And the delusion carries right into the very next scene. She goes to meet with a realtor, Tamika, to look at a rental.
And what is she looking at? A 4-story townhouse that costs $7,000 a month with a private elevator.
An elevator. For a woman who can't afford her dog's highlight touch-up, I was so glad Tamika didn't coddle her.
Tamika was the hero we needed. She flat out lifts Kelly in the eye and tells her she needs to suffer a little bit. Live below your means if you ever want to buy a house again.
But Kelly doesn't want to hear it. She just wants the aesthetic.
I said this to you last night. Kelly is trying to shoot a 90s Hype Williams rap video, but she is living on a Tubi streaming salary. The math simply does not math.
The Tubi salary, I am screaming. It's so true. But listen, Kelly is only risking her credit score. When we transition to K. Michelle, we are talking about someone risking their actual life.
This was the darkest, most sci-fi segment of the entire deep dive. K. Michelle goes to visit her doctor post-surgery.
And we have to remember the context. This woman has had like 15 surgeries. She just healed from a life-threatening infection that almost took her out.
Right. She goes in, presumably to get a clean bill of health, but immediately says she wants another butt lift to get a fitness body.
And the doctor warns her against implants, but then he suggests the most terrifying phrase I have ever heard on television: shelf-stable fat.
I had to look it up, and when I realized what it was, I felt nauseous.
Babes, it is cadaver fat. It is
Ugh.
human fat taken from a dead person, put in a jar, and then injected into your body.
You are actively grafting the remnants of a deceased human into your own body just to achieve an Instagram aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's a horror movie.
I was emotionally begging her through the screen to stop. I was like, hey, Michelle, please, you have survived so much. Put the scalpel down.
It is the ultimate sunk cost fallacy. She has endured so much pain that she feels like she has to keep going until it's perfect, or else all that suffering was for nothing.
It is so heartbreaking. And the fact that she was actually considering it, I just couldn't.
I honestly was trying to cope with the horror by making jokes. Like, I was saying she's going to end up possessed by the ghost of the donated fat.
Stop! That is so dark. But honestly, the psychological cost of this show is just staggering. Which brings us to the family court segment.
Yes, the virtual therapy session between Angela and her daughter, Amori.
This was a really tough watch for me. They are doing virtual therapy with Dr. Wendy, and the core conflict is that Amari secretly married her wife.
A woman she'd been bringing around the house since she was 17 years old. And Angela is deeply, profoundly hurt that she was excluded from the wedding.
Which, as a mother, you can understand the initial hurt. But when Amari explains why she hid it, it breaks your heart.
Omari looks right into the camera and says she hid it because Angela is impossible to talk to and makes everything about herself.
She said she knew Angela would just turn her wedding into an extension of Angela's own ego. But then there was that subtext, which was the most damning part.
The producer asks if she would have told the family if she were marrying a man.
And Amari immediately says yes. Because heterosexuality is more acceptable, she was actively terrified of her mother's reaction to her queerness.
It implies a deep, unspoken homophobia, or at least extreme discomfort, in that household. And the wildest part is that while this deeply traumatic conversation is happening on speakerphone,
The 11-year-old brother is literally just sitting on the stairs, ear hustling the entire thing.
he was completely locked in. It just proves Amori's point. Nothing in that family is private. Everything is produced content.
And when Amari started crying about missing her grandmother, Maggie, who used to mediate these blowups, I just empathized with her so much.
But did you see Angela's reaction? Total defensive deflection. Instead of comforting her child, Angela calls her entitled and spoiled.
Which makes no sense. Amari pays her own bills. She is financially independent. Angela just wants the aesthetic of a perfect matriarch without doing any of the actual emotional work.
Exactly. And the transition from that heavy emotional trauma directly into a charity basketball game is just peak reality television editing.
The whiplash. We have to talk about Maggie Madness, the Bailey Bowl 2.0.
The main event. They rent a gym, and the optics of this event were an absolute crime against athletics.
Kelly shows up to play a competitive 5-on-5 basketball game on a hardwood floor in stilettos.
Because she, quote, doesn't wear sneakers.
You are being audited by your accountant, and you can't buy a pair of Converse. I was dying laughing watching her clack across the court.
And then Pinky Cole walks in.
Yeah.
And she brought two massive non-basketball playing bodyguards to participate in the game.
The producer asks one of them what his safe word is, and this giant man just deadpans, "Help, baby."
Help, baby. It was the funniest thing I ever heard.
I rewound it 3 times, and then Phaedra shows up with Apollo's identical twin son.
The DNA is strong with that one. He is a clone. But the real mess was happening at the scores table with the team names.
Oh, Angela and Cynthia were doing the devil's work with those clipboards.
It was weaponized branding. They named Pinky Chatty Patty. They named Phaedra the Godfather.
They gave Kelly Minion, which is just devastatingly accurate. Drew got Delulu, obviously.
K. Michelle was blind opposition, though she did cross it out and write only ops and opportunity, which I respected.
That was a good comeback. But the shadiest name was giving Shamea Team Sasquatch, purely because Angela is obsessed with mocking Shamea's size 11 feet.
It's so petty. And Portia just slides by untouched as go naked. She's a Teflon Don.
So Charles is refereeing, and Angela's team, the Fangies, actually wins the championship.
And the second they win, Angela looks at Charles and brags that she won him a championship since he never got one in the NBA.
I gasped. You publicly emasculated your husband's NBA career over a charity intramural game.
Lethal.
Yeah.
But it showed her adrenaline was spiking, which explains the post-game blow-up.
The buzzer sounds, and Angela just marches across the court and corners Shamea. It was a total ambush.
She starts listing off all of Shamea's offenses, specifically laser focusing on Shamea spreading rumors that Angela was sleeping with Hawks and Falcons players.
And Shamea panics, right. She tries to hit back and yells, well, you got your name by sleeping with an NBA player.
Which is a fundamental failure of reading mechanics. You cannot insult someone for marrying an athlete while standing in a gymnasium paid for by that athlete.
It made no sense. And Phaedra just stands there totally deadpan and says, that's usually how it works, though.
Pure comedic sniper fire. The entire gym went quiet.
I fell off my couch. Shamea's red just face planted. And of course the pile-on started. Drew jumps in to agree with Angela.
Because Drew is just looking for an alliance. She senses Angela has the numbers, so she aligns with the power.
But Shamea calls it out. She says, when I back Michelle, I'm a lapdog. But Drew blindly follows Angela, and that's fine.
Shamea was right about the double standard, but in this group, logic doesn't matter. Volume matters. If 4 people are screaming at you, you lose.
And then, the ultimate snake move. Pinky slithers over to Shamea, who is literally crying, and whispers, I feel an energy about K. Michelle's loyalty to you.
Chatty Patty struck. She dropped a nuclear bomb of paranoia onto a woman who was already hyperventilating. It was diabolical.
Thank God K. Michelle actually shut it down and said she'd handle it privately. But Shamea was broken. The episode ends with her crying, questioning her future on the show.
And just a reminder for everyone, next week is the cast trip to Scotland. They are taking this unhinged energy international.
I cannot wait. But right now, we have to do our segments. It is time for the Peach Report card.
Yes, let's grade these women from A+ to F based on this deep dive. I'll kick it off. Portia gets an A+ head.
Wait, really? An A+ head?
Absolutely. It was a masterclass in securing the bag.
Right.
She used her ex's hate to sell $50,000 worth of wigs. She gave us the hilarious chicken wing tutorial, and she avoided all the messy basketball drama. Flawless.
Okay, I actually agree with that. That is boss energy. For Angela, I'm giving her a B.
Explain the minus.
Look, she hosted a great event, and the Sasquatch shade was funny. But I have to dock major points for her lack of self-awareness in that therapy session. You cannot call your financially independent queer daughter spoiled just because you are losing an argument.
That is extremely fair. The optics were terrible. Okay, my next grade is Kelly, and it is a resounding F.
An F-.
A catastrophic financial disaster. You are getting scolded by a financial advisor about dog wigs, you want an elevator, and you are playing basketball in heels. It's a fail on every level.
Totally. Now, for Shamea, I am giving her a D.
I agree with the D, but for analytical reasons. You're feeling bad for her crying, right?
I did. I felt so bad watching her get ganged up on.
See, I think she deserved it. If you spread rumors that someone is sleeping with entire sports teams, you don't get to cry when they confront you. Plus, her reading skills were atrocious.
I mean, you're not wrong. The NBA read was a complete flop. And lastly, Pinky gets a B+ web.
She fully understood the assignment as a messy background character. Chatty Patty delivered the paranoia right at the buzzer.
Exactly. Okay, segment 2. The shade stock market. Whose stock is rising, crashing, stable, or unpredictable?
The rising stock is unequivocally Cynthia Bailey. She's playing the middle perfectly. She carried the bone, started the fire, and walked away with clean hands and an event co-host credit. Buy Cynthia stock now.
Honestly brilliant. The crashing stock is obviously Kelly. She went from the kept woman aesthetic to being publicly shamed over a Range Rover note. Her stock is in the basement.
Stable stock goes to Phaedra. She was barely involved in the conflict, but she still delivered the most iconic one-liner of the night. Her stock is like a treasury bond.
And the completely unpredictable stock is K. Michelle. Babes, you never know what this woman will do. She is literally hunting for cadaver fat.
It is terrifying. Do not invest heavily unless you like high-risk medical drama.
Right. Okay, segment 3, Friendship Court. We are putting the Angela versus Shamea conflict on trial. Who started it, who was right, and who owes an apology?
I will take Angela's side analytically. Shamea escalated this weeks ago by spreading malicious cheating rumors. If you throw a rock, do not act surprised when the rock comes back at your head on a basketball court.
Wait, no, I am completely disagreeing with you here. I am taking Shamea's side.
How can you defend the rumors?
I'm not defending the rumors, but Angela was doing way too much. You do not orchestrate a coordinated bullying pile-on at a charity event honoring your dead mother. The timing and the venue were completely wrong.
If you don't want to get confronted in public, don't talk trash in private. Shamea owes Angela an apology.
Fine, Shamea owes her an apology for the rumor, but Angela owes Shamea an apology for weaponizing a memorial service to do it. We are a hung jury on this one.
We really are, which just means they get to scream about it at the reunion. Which brings us to segment 4, the reunion preparation kit.
Yes, we need to make bold predictions for the reunion couches. First prediction, the first fight.
It's going to be Shamea versus Drew. The lapdog comments have been brewing, and they're going to explode before Andy even finishes the introductions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, my prediction for the biggest receipt. Someone is going to bring Kelly's actual profit and loss statements.
Stop. They wouldn't.
They absolutely will. Someone is going to pull her tax returns or LLC filings and hand Andy a folder proving she is broke. It's going to be devastating.
That is dark, but probably true. My prediction for who will refuse accountability is Angela. She will absolutely refuse to acknowledge any fault in how she handled Amaury's coming out. She will just play the victim.
100%. And who will steal the reunion? Portia.
Obviously. She's going to pivot out of every piece of drama and just treat the reunion like a QVC special for Go Naked Hair.
And finally, the must-ask Andy question from the fans.
It has to be. Kelly, did you ever cut the dog's wig budget?
The people demand to know. We need fiscal transparency for that poor dog.
We really do. But honestly, looking at everything we unpacked today, there's such a heavy theme running through this.
Yes, babes, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. What is the actual emotional cost of keeping up appearances?
Whether it is Kelly literally going broke just for the aesthetic of wealth, or K. Michelle risking her actual life for a fleeting fitness trend.
Or Angela fracturing her relationship with her own daughter just so she can maintain the illusion of being right. The Bravo reality check is coming for everyone.
You cannot outrun the truth when the cameras turn off. The facade always cracks.
It really does. Babes, thank you so much for listening and spiraling with us today.
Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with a fellow Bravo-loving babe who appreciates the mess.
Yes, we will see you next week for the absolute chaos in Scotland. Until then, stay shady.
Stay messy.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.